Hi everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of our biodiesel obsession on the BNSF Birdwood subdivision. The local has brought our cars of ethanol, vegetable oil and potassium hydroxide back to the yard and have detached from their train so the yard switchers can get in and grab these cars and put them on the manifest train that will be heading out very soon. In this video I'm experimenting with single point lighting. As we all know, there's only one sun and light only comes from one direction, but with a layout we normally have multiple angles of light, which gives a very flat appearance. So in this video I'm experimenting with one light source, pointing in one direction to give some nice shadows and to see what sort of results we get. Now, as I mentioned in part 1, Mr. 6744, one of my Katos here, its motor is burning out, you can smell it, and it's playing havoc with the smooth running because the decoder is getting all sorts of crazy amps from the motor as it slowly deteriorates, so the silky smooth running isn't as good as it should be. Meanwhile, at the other end of the yard, the power is being shuffled on to the head end of the train. In the consoles today, going backwards, is an Atlas 840 CW with a Tsunami 2 decoder. Our mid-unit is a old Kato AC 4400 with a Tsunami 1. This unit would have to be at least 20 years old, as well as the decoder in it. The lead unit today is an Atherm Genesis ES44 AC, I think. We don't allow C4 units on the Birdwood sub. And that has a Tsunami 2 in it as well. Okay, not quite. This time with a little bit more love, I think. Well, after a successful couple up, let's quickly go back and check on our grain train that left in episode 1. This shot here, while taken with the phone, has been lit with a key light, which is the brighter light coming from the left, you can see there, and the tunnel portal has been slightly lit with a fill light, which is just enough to give the tunnel some exposure, tunnel portal some exposure, and it gives it a nice 3D effect. One of the great aspects of using single point lighting is you get shadows. Now don't be scared of shadows. Shadows are great. It's what makes the world dynamic and three-dimensional. And here we have the tunnel portal lit a little bit more, but have that nice late afternoon sun. Our empty grain train finally makes it to the Helix, and with a speed restriction of 25, that's 25 on the 128 speed step scale. That's the speed I like to go down the Helix because there's quite a lot of force on a train going down the Helix, and I like to keep things under control going down there because I've had a couple of runaways and it's not pretty. Back at West Yard, a pair of SD40-2s switch the train and couple up to our ethanol cars and our grain cars. Our cars bound for the biodiesel plant will now be placed in the middle of the outgoing manifest train. Lead Unit 1883 is an Athern RTR SD40-2 with a Tsunami Economy decoder and runs as well or better than the Katos. Trailing Unit 6752 is a Kato SD40-2 with an original Tsunami 1 decoder. It's about 20 years old as well. The yard switchers are now pushing their train back onto the end of the manifest train, and that will make the train up. And once all the checks are done, our manifest train will be departing and heading down the Helix towards West Birdwood. The yard switch has cleared the departure track as the head end powers up and pulls the train out of Wellers Hill Yard. Our train is about to enter my experimental, fully lined tunnel. We'll hop in the cab again and go for a bit of a ride through some mock-up scenery. This was going to be another cutting through here. There's a bit of a scene divider, which I think is necessary. And of course that's not happening here because the layout's being removed and pulled down, bigger and better. One thing I will try and avoid in the new layout is this situation right here where you have one line, the main line going past the yard, but it's really two different scenes. This main line has nothing to do with the yard down there. So I'm working very hard to alleviate that in the new layout, which I have a lot more room and I'll be doing things quite differently. After rounding the curve, our train goes into dynamics for its long trip down the 1.8% Helix. No matter how many times I watch this, it's always cool to see a train wind under itself. Let's jump in the cab for a ride down the Helix and a meet with a westbound intermodal. As we travel down the Helix, you'll notice that the track is secured with screws and washers. These are tightened just enough to touch the tyres and allow the track to slide in and out to compensate for temperature differences. And in summer, you notice that the track is pushed out and the screws are closer to the inner rail, and in winter, as the whole Helix contracts, the outer rail is closer to the screws. So this allows the 32 metres of one piece of rail, because it's all soldered, to breathe, and it moves quite a bit. We're out of the Helix and about to cross over to go down the Tarragindi cutoff that will get us onto the main up to Birdwood Yard. We're headed down the Tarragindi Cutoff. This is actually a reversing section that can turn an entire train around on the lower level of the layout. And it's also the steepest at 2%, which is the minimum grade I could get to fit in between the two turnouts. And this part of the layout will stall the train and has done on a few occasions. One last climb and our manifest reaches West Birdwood Yard. It's a slow crawl into West Birdwood Yard, as the place is almost full, and I need time to reposition the camera. well, really need to weather these new ones, but anyway, they'll get that when they move to Stirling. Well, I hope you liked part 2 of our biodiesel op session. This took a lot of work. This took nearly 2 days to shoot, and with all the lighting and mucking around moving trains, it's probably about 10 hours of just mucking around. We haven't even got to the editing yet. That's what it takes, especially with one person. Anyway, hope you liked it, and this will be the last, I dare say, one of the last big operating sessions on the Birdwood sub before it gets dismantled. So we've got 3 and 4 coming up. So our next one will be breaking up this train and taking the tank cars and the hopper cars to the biodiesel plant. Let me get in frame here. And then after that, it'll be the making of a batch of biodiesel, which I've already filmed, so that's good. So, all right, thanks for watching. We'll see you on part 3. Hooroo for now. Bye-bye.